being here today. We really appreciate it. You know, he loved every single one of you. And I'm sorry that I didn't get to stop and say hi before, but I hope to see you all after. I try to keep this light and funny because that's what Dad would want. So I guess I'll just get right into it. Grief is an interesting thing. It's infuriating, it's painful, it's exhausting, and it's beautiful. It is love, pure and sacred. I've experienced pain over the last week that is immeasurable. An aching I've never felt, right at the center of my chest, pushing and pulling, grasping at the very core of my being. And I share this pain with the people I love the most. And yet, we laugh, and we smile, and we hug, and we cry. Memories creep in and out, just pure love. My dad was the kind of guy that could make anybody laugh. He was full of jokes, and always thinking of funny ways to say things. We didn't grow up calling dogwood dogwood. It was called puppy lumber. Think about it. If something was illegal, it was sitch bird. There were crocodiles, tarantulas, and Dow's was always Theodolese. He would say things that made you question your own reality, and it became a joke that you should never trust what Dad says. He oftentimes was mistaken for Santa Claus when out and about. Children would approach him in the grocery store, thinking he was the real deal. He would ask them if they'd been good this year, and they would giggle and run back to their parents. He secretly loved it. He would bah humbug a lot, but we knew it was all a facade. One Halloween, when I was probably 12, he dressed up in his snowmobile suit, painted his face white, and filled a bucket with cut-up pieces of bone, probably from a recent hunt, or maybe something he was going to use for jewelry. He spent the night answering the door as a 300-pound, 6-foot-tall, bearded, and quite terrifying character. He'd place the bone in their treat bags and probably say something weird or scary. Just imagine being that parent that opened up the treat bag and found a bone. He was an encyclopedia of random knowledge. I remember when I was 8, I asked him about the moon. Why is it up there? What does it do? Can we go there? I wish I could remember his exact answer, but it was then when I realized my dad knew everything. I was convinced. I used to work at a local natural food store. I had customers who had asked for the weirdest things. Most of the time, I knew how to help them find what they needed. That was until someone asked for diatomaceous earth. Does anybody know what that is? Of course you do. My dad's brother. He knows. Neither the customer or myself knew what it was for, but she needed it for a pest problem. So I called my dad, because he knew everything. And this is what he said. Diatomaceous earth consists of fossilized remains of diatoms, a type of hard-shelled protist. It's used as natural pest control, among other various things. Of course he knew that. Mystery solved. He became a regular consultant. He also liked to play tricks on newbie crew members, asking them where he could find the organic water. They almost always fell for it. My dad and I were very much alike, something I was in denial about until I entered my 30s. It wasn't just that we had the same baby fine hair or the same nose. We were both really good at arguing, and neither of us was ever wrong. We were stubborn, often irrationally upset over little things, and didn't enjoy having our pride compromised. We fought over a banana once. A banana. I threatened to run away. I refused to eat the bruised part. He didn't want me to waste food. Our relationship was often rocky, especially in my teens up until about 10 years ago. Okay, I got it. When I got pregnant with my dear Tallulah, he was right there with me, taking me to doctor's appointments, WIC appointments, shopping at Babies R Us. I told him and my brother that when I was in labor, I would have an open door policy. I said, you can be there or not. It's totally up to you. No pressure. They were both there for the happiest day of my life. He was the one that cut her umbilical cord. He held her tiny hand when she was crying while getting her first diaper change. He gave her first nickname, Tattoola, because she was born with a beautiful little birthmark. After that, we grew a little distant. I was in a relationship, doing my own thing, and I'm sure he thought maybe I didn't need him as much anymore. His health was declining at this point. His PTSD was affecting him. He started journaling, getting his war stories out on paper. He began to feel better. I was going to get married, and he got to walk me down the aisle. He was then diagnosed with diabetes. He had to have open heart surgery to repair his heart valve. They used the heart valve of a cow, so he would move occasionally from that point forward. He had circulation problems with his legs and feet. He had to have his leg amputated. Doctors always noted how terrible he looked on paper, but he kept a sunny and positive outlook in spite of it all. He made friends with every doctor and nurse he ever met, except for one. We don't talk about that. And really everyone he came in contact with. After his amputation, Tallulah and I took off on a year-long road trip. We stayed in 38 states and drove 26,000 miles. For a long time, I prepared myself for the day I would get a call that he was dying or worse. I never went too far from home in fear that I would get that phone call. I didn't want to be away and maybe not get to say goodbye. He was feeling so good and so fantastic that I felt comfortable leaving to fulfill a lifelong dream of mine. I specifically told him, "You can't leave when I'm gone, okay?" And he laughed. He did stay. And when I came home, we got 4 wonderful months together. We went on a road trip to California. A fellow vet that witnessed him do a very heroic and brave thing contacted him this last August. This vet's children grew up with the stories of the mystery man that removed his fatally wounded pilot from the controls without hesitation, even though he was in the direct line of enemy fire. They found each other miraculously through some fateful push from the universe, and then healing began. He asked me to come and document every moment for him, and of course I was honored. He met 2 other vets while we were down there, and we quickly became family. Andy, can you stand up? Andy, this is Andy Perry, and John Duper now. And we're missing Jeff Carr, but that is my dad's. They're brothers. He had a brotherhood now, something he'd never had or thought he needed. He got to fly in a Huey helicopter. It was restored to Vietnam-era condition, the same helicopter he flew 46 years ago. He faced his fears, his demons, and the things that haunted him most in the 46 years since he came home from Vietnam. I thought it might trigger PTSD, but instead, it felt like home to him. We bonded on that trip in a way that I never thought possible. We grew closer. Stories about his childhood and the war came pouring out. We spent the next 10 minutes talking about that trip in complete awe of his meaningless on life. He was utterly and completely new. Old wounds healing, scars fading. I found him crying while looking at pictures of that trip. I said, "Why are you crying?" He said, "I'm feeling lucky for myself. I'm not feeling sorry for myself anymore. I'm so lucky." He wanted to shout his experience from the rooftops. He wanted to help other vets find peace and healing. If he could, of all people, he knew others could as well. He and I went to the local newspaper, and he told his story. I was, and am still, so incredibly proud. The man who once kept the war locked away from everyone was now an open book. I encourage all of you, if you haven't already, to read the article that was published in the Hood River News exactly 1 week before his death. It may seem as though he died because he found closure and was able to tell his story, but I do not believe that he simply made his peace and was finally able to rest. He wasn't done. He was looking to his future with excitement and possibility. He wanted to travel with Mom, back to California to visit his new brotherhood and get up in that helicopter seat again. He wanted to help me. He wanted me to help him write a book and make a documentary about his time in California with the Huey vets. He wanted to teach me to metalsmith. My friend told me that we needed to go out and learn those things and do those things despite his absence to honor him. So we will honor him every day by living to the fullest, to do things he loved, and to pass them on to Lula. We will tell stories, and we'll laugh and cry. I will take him to Vietnam. I will take him to Alaska, and anywhere else he wanted to go. He will be present in everything that we do. We will see him in nature, and in the wildlife and in the sky. His energy is forever infinite. And I just want to leave you with this. Tell your story. Take every opportunity to do the things that you love. Laugh and make others laugh. Spend time outside. Be weird. Make amends. And love your family. It's so cliche, but I get it now. You never know when your time will come. It sucks, and I hate it. That is grief, and we will feel it, and we will not fight it. It is painful, and it is beautiful. Merry Christmas, or as my dad would say, bah humbug.